I'd like to go now into the other matter that I wanted to address, which is the name change, and then we can take questions. I'm quite happy to take questions after that. As you know that Parliament has approved the amendments to the law, including the BDM Act regarding name change registration. That has all been gazetted. The forms are now out. It'll be available to the public from tomorrow on government web page, on the Facebook page. You can look at all those details. So very quickly to recap, a person may change their name, the entire name or just the surname, depending on what they want to do. As long as you're 18 years and over, you can go and do that independently of anybody else. You don't actually have to give a reason as to why you want to change your name. Now, the children can have their names changed also, but only if both the parents consent for the name change. However, in the event that the one parent is not involved in the rearing of the child, or the one parent has passed away, or is unknown or missing or of unsound mind, then the other parent can consent to the name change. To register a name change in Fiji, an individual must have his or her birth certificate registered in Fiji. So in other words, your birth certificate should have been originally issued in Fiji. If your birth is registered in Fiji, any updated birth certificate after the name change that is issued will show that the new name and will invalidate the previous birth certificate. If a person's birth was registered overseas, excuse me, and they later became a Fijian citizen, they would have to change their name in the country where they were born, because we cannot change their birth certificate from Fiji. When you are lodging an application to change your name at the BDM office or through the Fijian Elections Office, we'll now also be facilitating that. You'll need to provide the birth certificate, the current birth certificate, and one of the following valid photo IDs, your passport or your driving license or your FRCS or FNPF card or a voter card. Again, we have some occasions where there are some people who, for example, may be living in deep rural areas or in the maritime areas. They may not actually have a valid photo ID. So in those cases, or we found, as we did a sweep a few years ago, there were some people who had actually gone through 20, 30 years of their life without even a birth certificate. So in those occasions, we actually have a process through BDM where they go through a particular verification process, and they can also facilitate for you to get a birth certificate, a new birth certificate, should you wish to change your name. Now, the application for the change of name could take up to 5 days because we have to make sure that we go through all the records and we go through the back end and do manual verification to ensure that there is no duplication of names. As soon as that is all verified, you'll be able to get the new birth certificate. As I mentioned, you don't have to give a reason. There is no fee involved to change your name. It's all completely free. And as you know that this year we said if you get a birth certificate, that is also free for this year, which the Ministry of Economy picks up the tab, which Ministry of Justice actually issues an invoice to Ministry of Economy. Now, we do have some Fijians who live offshore who may want to change their name. So if you live in Fiji, for example, you can declare a change of name before a JP, a Commissioner for Oaths, the staff at the BDM office, the certain staff at the Fijian Elections Office, and these names will be all appointed or published in the Gazette, I should say. For those people Fijians who live overseas and want to change their name here, the application form can be witnessed by a Commissioner for Oaths or notaries public in those countries. The officials of the Fijian Elections Office can also receive completed application forms from the applicants wishing to change their name at all Fijian Elections Offices throughout Fiji. And we know that they are already setting up some ad hoc offices throughout Fiji and some of the CBD areas also beginning tomorrow. They will, of course, be going out together with BDM, as announced earlier on, in the next few weeks to the outer islands to ensure that we are able to reach all those people who may wish to change their details or their names. We have also undertaken that wherever the Fijian Elections Offices are set up, whether permanent or ad hoc, should people come to change their names over there, they can authorize the Fijian Elections Office to collect the birth certificate on their behalf, or they can post it to them, so it makes it easier for them. They don't have to continuously go running up and down. So we made it as easy as possible. Now, just one other information: if a person has changed his or her name, he or she must only use his or her updated birth certificate and must not use his or her previous birth certificate, because obviously that would be trying to pass off, or what we call identity hopping, and that of course is an offense under the False Information Act 2016. Just very quickly, we wanted to highlight the BDM offices, and I can go into these details. There's about 21 BDM offices throughout Fiji: Kayasi, Vunindawa, Rotuma, Levuka, Vunisea, Lakemba, Taviuni, Savusavu, Nambowalu, Lambasa, Rakiraki, Tavua, Mba, Lotoka, Nandi, Singatoka, Korovo, Navua, Nosori, Nasinu, Suva. These are the actual BDM offices. Apart from that, of course, we have the Fijian Elections Office, and we have some details also. For example, they've set up some ad hoc offices at Nandi Sangam School, the PA's office in Singatoka, DO's office in Rakiraki. They'll be here all of next week. St. Teresa's School in Ba, all of next week they'll be there. Civic Center next week, Damodara City on Sunday, Nakasi Mall tomorrow and Sunday. Of course, at the Voter Registration Center in Suva Town, Navua Town, Ngaloa Village, actually they'll be there. In fact, some of them are there as we speak. And of course, as I mentioned, the outer islands in the next few weeks. They've also made, they reached out to business houses, so they can actually go to workplaces. And already 5 workplaces or business houses have actually reached out to them. So Lotoka, Nandi, and Suva, and they'll be attending to that next week. So it's become quite seamless in respect of wanting to change your details, wanting to change your name should you wish to do so. Of course, you don't have to do so, that's your choice. And the idea is to ensure that there is synchronization of your name as far as all the official records are concerned. The commissioners for oaths, or who are the commissioners for oaths, they're all available at the legal aid offices, the lawyers at the legal aid offices. Legal aid offices, a number of offices throughout Fiji. You can go there, they can witness your signature, of course, at the AG's chambers too. You'll find the details available on the web page. We have the Justices of Peace throughout Fiji, in the outer islands, the maritime areas, deep rural areas too. And again, those details are found on the Ministry of Justice website. And we have a number of people who will be available to respond to any of the queries that you may have. We're also putting up phone numbers of people that you can ask any questions of in respect of that matter. So they are the two major issues that we wanted to address. And we look forward to the genuine applicants as far as the 360 is concerned. We also look forward to people who do want to change the details, want to update the voter card, to go through the process. And as you know, that in the next few weeks there'll be quite a lot of activity, and we encourage people to take advantage of this opportunity, in particular when there's no cost involved, to carry out these changes.